And welcome to Newsmaker. I'm Brian O'Neill, and we have in this half hour Hornell Mayor John Buckley. Mayor Buckley, thanks for calling in.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Well, Mayor John Buckley, just got a statement from you just moments ago. The voting location has changed for Hornell Wards 9 and 10. You're moving it from Hornell Gardens to the Community Arts Center, the old Ponderosa on Broadway, for Wards 9 and 10. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Brian, we thought that would be the responsible thing to do, in light of the COVID-19 outbreak at Hornell Gardens. Traditionally that's been the polling place, the voting site for the 9th and 10 wards of the city, as long as I can remember. But with all that's happened there, we felt that it'd be, the prudent thing to do would be to move it out of there and relocate the polling sites to the Hornell Arts Center on Broadway. And as you know, the Arts Center on Broadway has parking on the Broadway side and the Center Street parking lot. So there's the accessibility, all the parking. So it'll be much easier. But the other thing is we need to protect our seniors, and having all that foot traffic, whether it's primary day or on the general election day itself, that's a lot of people coming in and out. You have the polling, the workers that work, throughout the day and into the night. So there's a lot of foot traffic. So our main priority is protecting the residents at the nursing home and their staff and the citizens and the voters. So I think it's a win all the way around, and it's just a different time we're living in. So we have to do these things.
That makes total sense, Mayor Buckley. Good thoughts there. Mayor John Buckley with us this morning in this segment of Newsmaker. With the whole COVID-19 situation, how do you think things are now, Mayor Buckley?
Well, things are starting to calm down, at least here locally. We still do have positive cases out there, but you've seen the numbers decline, and I think what doesn't get talked about nearly enough is all of the positive cases that have resolved themselves, and those people basically that have gotten back to health, that have gotten over it, and that number is quite large. I'm talking to Jack Wheeler from the county on almost on a daily basis. For a while it was a daily basis, even multiple times throughout the day. But it's starting to subside. We're getting there. We're entering the phases, and we just have to be careful. We just have to be diligent and make sure that we don't take one step forward and two steps back, because the last thing we want to do is to reopen and do things too quickly. And I think you see that in the news cycle throughout the country over Memorial Day weekend. There's these beach parties and pool parties down south and in the Midwest, and you've had mayors and governors trying to corral these people, and so we haven't really had that here. I think most people in our neck of the woods have been pretty cooperative and have been pretty understanding, and for the most part have done the right thing. So it's just doing our due diligence, because we don't want to exacerbate any problems and have to relive any of that stuff. We want to get back to normal whenever that new normal is, but it's baby steps.
The possibility, Mayor Buckley, of Governor Andrew Cuomo cutting funding to city halls, town halls, and village halls across New York State is being discussed now publicly. What's that called? AIM funding? What does AIM stand for again?
Yeah, Brian, AIM stands for Aid and Incentives to Municipalities, and AIM is the only the one and only unrestricted funding source that the cities and villages receive from the state. And by unrestricted, I mean you can use that for anything. You could go out, buy a new dump truck with it. You can use it for payroll. You can use it for whatever you need. It's just AIM. It's AIM, aid, whatever you want to call it. It's state funding, and the problem is, the governor has the unprecedented power this year, and the state legislator granted him this power to withhold a portion of funding at 3 different points throughout the year. So, in other words, if the state budget becomes unbalanced, the governor now has the power to withhold funding to local governments. So, what does that mean for, the city of Hornell? I'm hearing reports in NICOM, New York Conference of Mayors, sent out an email to their members just this past week warning on this. And, if there were a 20% reduction to the city of Hornell, that's $300,000. If it were 50%, it'd be $750,000 because we receive about roughly $1.5 million in AIM every year. So that's a significant source of revenue for the city of Hornell, which helps provide and pay for all of those essential services that our residents enjoy and really rely upon. So, that would be that'd be crippling. I mean, if that were to happen, you might as well start turning out the lights at City Hall and some of these departments because, with the COVID pandemic and the resulting economic shutdown, obviously, we've discussed this at length on your show and, throughout the last month or so. But, sales tax revenues are down, and a whole host of other revenues are going to be down, too. So, there's less money coming in to the coffers, which means less money, that we are able to use to fund departments and programs that we normally do. So, it's pretty ugly out there right now. And if you look around the region, a lot of local governments are laying employees off. City of Ithaca, I think, laid off like 70-some employees. Allegheny County was in the 40s. There's real life effects going on. We talk about the businesses and the high unemployment, and those numbers are staggering. But some of those numbers, they're not all from businesses. They come from local governments as well.
Okay, with this situation that you're talking about, the possibility of Governor Cuomo cutting the aid to municipality funding, is it possible, Mayor Buckley, for you to raise taxes locally under the COVID-19 circumstances? Would you have to lay off city employees? What would happen?
Well, I mean, our budget's already in place, Brian, so, our fiscal year aligns with the state's fiscal year. So our fiscal year is April 1st through March 31st. So our budget's already passed. It's already in place. So if AIM were to be cut, then, we'd just be out in the cold. There wouldn't be really a whole lot we could do about it as far as, backfilling. But, that's a lot of money to try to replace, too. So, you can't simply just go to the taxpayers and say, hey, the governor cut our AIM funding, so now we're going to put that entire burden on your shoulders. It doesn't work that way. You would just overburden the taxpayers exponentially. I mean, you have the city tax, you have the school tax that's coming up, and down the road you'll have the county taxes as well. So, you have to be careful. But and I know you have former Mayor Hogan coming up on the next show, and and when I was his deputy mayor all those years, he always told me that the city budget was a shoestring budget, and it absolutely is. We're walking a tightrope, especially this year. But my fear isn't just this year, because if the governor cuts AIM funding for municipalities, my fear is that it won't be just a one-time cut. It'll be in perpetuity. So, in other words, I fear that if it's cut this year, it won't be restored next year or the year after that or the year after that. It'll just be a permanent cut, and then that'll be our new reality, and we'll just have that much less, funding coming in to fund all the departments and projects and different programs that the city offers. So, it's real. It's almost like having an axe hanging over your head, and you're just waiting for it to fall. So, I've talked to other mayors around the region, and they all have the same concern. Obviously NICOM does. They've been advocating on our part, and the lines of communication are open. But I don't think he fought for that power from the legislature for nothing. If he wasn't going to use it, hopefully he doesn't. Maybe we'll all be wrong, but I guess only time will tell.
Yes, on that topic, and I'll bring this up with Sean Hogan, too, coming up in our 8:30 segment. Assemblywoman Nicole Malliotakis is trying to push legislation to take this emergency powers away from Governor Andrew Cuomo. I don't know how that's going to work out. Did you have any thoughts there, Mayor Buckley?
Yeah, I've seen different emails floating around, and I've received some of those where assembly members or senators are trying to, take back that power that was granted to the governor. But I think it's kind of one of those situations where the horse is already out of the barn, and it's already kind of the car's out of the garage, so to speak. I don't know how you kind of take that back after the fact that you already gave it to them. So I think that might just be wishful thinking on their part, but I don't really expect anything to come of it.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment with Hornell Mayor John Buckley. Stay with us.
Springwater Amish Workshop in Springwater is once again open for business. Summer living is here. Enhance your outdoor living spaces with quality constructed Amish-made furniture and accessories of polyvinyl or southern yellow pressure-treated pine. Do your baby chicks need a home? Springwater Amish Workshop has chicken coops in stock. 2020 storage sheds and gazebos are arriving weekly, or they can order just what you want. That's Springwater Amish Workshop, 7936 Mill Street, that's Route 15, in Springwater. And check out their website, springwateramishworkshop.com, to see what they can do.
Hornell Partners for Growth would like everyone to know that we are thinking of you and hope everyone stays safe and healthy. We are working with our district businesses to get all necessary information out that is required to ensure a safe and healthy reopening for all employees and community consumers. To stay up to date on openings, community events, Steuben County, City of Hornell, and Hornell School District information, please like and follow us on Facebook at Hornell Partners for Growth. There you'll find a list of businesses open with current hours updated weekly and posts shared from our businesses and local officials. Please stay safe, and remember, we appreciate your continued support to all local businesses.
Back with Hornell Mayor John Buckley on this segment of Newsmaker. Mayor Buckley, you've been having a lot of Zoom meetings lately. I think a lot of people are using Zoom these days. The meetings I want to ask you about in this segment, your meetings with Congressman Tom Reed, how have those been going?
Yeah, those meetings have been very productive, and you mentioned it, and I've heard you talk about Zoom on your show with other guests. But what a great tool that is to have at a time like this. And could you imagine, with this pandemic, if it were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, we wouldn't have the technological ability to do these sorts of things. So it's really it's such a nice tool in the toolbox to have, to be able to reach out and still conduct business, via Zoom and some of these other means. But so Congressman Reed he's been conducting weekly Zoom meetings, with local government officials and other state representatives in regards to the stimulus and the progress that they're making in Washington D.C. on that, and it kind of dovetails right into what we were just talking about. With the COVID situation, with the reduced sales tax and reduced revenues that municipalities and local governments are seeing, and I give Congressman Reed a lot of credit for working hard on this, and being a former mayor himself. I think he really takes it to heart, and he sees and feels the impact himself. So he's been working across the aisle with the Problem Solvers Caucus. I know he's worked with Senator Schumer behind the scenes on trying to move the ball forward. So and I can't underscore how vitally important this aid is, because in the previous stimulus packages, they've covered a lot of bases. They've covered businesses from large to small, employers, employees, all the workers. The stimulus checks themselves went out to all the taxpayers. So there's a lot of boxes that were checked off, but one large box, one glaring omission was aid to local governments, because we're the ones on the front lines, right? I mean, when you think about it, Brian, who provides your police protection? Who provides your fire protection? Who provides your DPW, your water, your sewer? Well, that's the local governments. That's the city of Hornell in our case. So, we're taking it on the chin. So I think it's imperative that Washington, acts responsibly and does something. Now, that's not to say that they should go and just, wave a magic wand and, fix every, pre-existing problem that, any state would have. But I think there should be some sort of formula or calculation to determine the negative impact that COVID has had on state governments and local governments within those states and try to help them out. And I think that's what they're doing.
Now, in addition to speaking with Congressman Tom Reed, Mayor Buckley, do you talk with other lawmakers, Assemblyman Palmisano, State Senator Tom O'Mara, Assemblywoman Marjorie Burns? I can, keep listing them.
Yeah, all of the above. Senator O'Mara and I talk on a weekly basis, as do Assemblywoman Burns and myself. Assemblywoman Palmisano and I communicate often. So, we're always talking. We're always in communication, and we really have a great team. And we all work together very well, and not just during this. We work together throughout the years and in the past, and we'll continue to do so. We've got a great group right there, and we know, and it's nice having all of those people, because for certain things you can go to this one, or something else you can go to that one, and depending on what it is. But yeah, to answer your question, absolutely, we're in constant communication, and honestly, even more now than ever before.
The Memorial Day parade the other day with people watching online or being in their vehicles, how did that go?
It went very well, and as you know, originally the Board of Public Safety had canceled it because of the restrictions coming out of Albany with all the COVID stuff going on, and then the governor, it was kind of late in the game, but the governor changed course and allowed vehicle-only parades. So we wanted to do something to honor those who have sacrificed their lives in the name of our country. And and our thought process was, it's better to do something than to do nothing. So what we did is I worked with the American Legion, and we set up a kind of a private ceremony. So we didn't want to attract a large crowd. We wanted to make sure that we adhered to, what the governor, the guidelines of what the governor was putting out there, and we did. So the American Legion organized a small ceremony on Broadway. Had a few speakers. I think there was maybe 9 or 10 people that were there, so that was within the guidelines. And they had their wreath laying ceremony, and then we had the parade later in the morning, which was vehicles only. Right down Main Street. There weren't any problems. The police were down there participating in the parade and monitoring, and the spectators that showed up were very respectful, and the parade went off without a hitch. So it was, it's not what we're accustomed to. It's not what we're, what we normally have, but I'd say it was very successful.
And we talked about this, I think, the last time you were on, the possibility of people not coming to the old James Street Park, Veterans Memorial Park, and wondering what are the plans at this point for the Hornell Garden, or the 4th of July, excuse me.
Well, the 4th of July is a little bit different. At this point, it doesn't look like we're going to have the 4th of July festivities down at the park that we're normally accustomed to having, just because of the size and scope of that. And it's something we touched base on earlier on in the conversation. We don't want to take, one step forward and 2 steps back. So at this point, it looks like I'm going to recommend that we not do the traditional 4th of July activities down at the park. We will, however, still have fireworks that night. So, the Board of Public Safety will meet early on in June, and we'll discuss that, and a formal decision will be coming out. But at this point, it doesn't look like we're going to do it this year, Brian.
Wow, that's big news. Hornell Mayor John Buckley just finishing up down to the last 30 to 60 seconds. Anything I did not bring up or any final thoughts you wanted to share?
Well, I just want to say, just thank all those people on the front lines, all the healthcare workers, all the workers at the nursing homes, the police and the fire, the DPW, everyone that was out there, especially the retail workers, the cashiers and everyone who at the Wegmans of the world and the Walmarts of the world that never really got a break, that were on the front lines working day in and day out, providing those vital services. So just a big thank you to all those folks.
Mayor John Buckley, I want to thank you so much for coming on today.
Okay, thank you, Brian. You have a great day.
You too. Hornell Mayor John Buckley there on AM 1480 WLEA, also on the new 106.9 FM. Coming up, Sean Hogan from the Hornell Industrial Development Agency. Stay with us.